All right. Well, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone who's tuned in right now to this live stream. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Here we are. I've turned it on. I've turned the live stream on, so I should be live. I know there's always that little bit of a delay there, so I always get that it's not 100% perfect, but here I am. I started it. We're going. What I always like to do when I first start one of these live streams is always first and foremost to just make sure. Can you see me all right? How's the video quality? How's the audio quality? And as I said, this time around I chose, because there's certain settings for the live stream. You have high latency, you have low latency, ultra low latency. And this time I chose, usually I do the high latency setting. This time I did the low latency setting, because that's better for like near real-time interaction, but I don't know. It seems to me like there's still a little bit of a delay in terms of this live stream, but whatever. If I'm here, if you could see me all right, if you can hear me all right, then we're good to go. I see everyone in the chat there saying hi, so that looks like it's good to go. And yeah, we'll just take it from there. So I'm just gonna go with it. Today's live stream is pretty much a miscellaneous stream. It's something that I kind of planned out about 24 hours ago, because you see, the thing that I'm trying to do with these live streams, I'm trying to do these perhaps on a monthly basis. Maybe once per month. Maybe 2 per month at a max, like at a maximum. But I'm just trying to, maybe do like one of these streams a month, maybe every, as I said, 15 days or so, just to kind of hang out, answer a few questions, do a little Q&A, talk a little bit, bring up some miscellaneous topics, and, just go from there. I've had a lot of fun doing these last few streams. I'll tell you this, they go by super quick. I mean, they go by so fast. It's incredible. So I thought to myself, well, it's been a while since I did the last one. I think it's almost been a month already. It goes by so quick. And I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to set it up, do another one, kind of hang out for however long it is, maybe a half hour, an hour and a half, however long it is, and just, as I said, take a couple questions, respond to the chat, just have a little fun. That's really the reason why I do these streams. And I know it always goes off to a little bit of a rough start because of just how this encoder, whatever it is, how it works out, because sometimes there's just a little bit of a delay, so that I'm always unsure, well, can anyone see me, can anyone hear me, what's going on. But usually when I get some sort of affirmatory comment from the chat, then then we're good to go. So anyway, this evening, here I am. I'm kind of set up. I got white chocolate, is that mocha? Yeah, white chocolate mocha from Starbucks, because I actually got up about an hour ago. So I'm still waking up. That's why I really couldn't do this stream earlier, because my sleep schedule is it's a little iffy right now. I'm getting up in the evenings, falling asleep in the mornings, so I'm sleeping through all the daylight hours again. And anyway, I got up about an hour ago, and I'm going with this one to kind of give me that energy to be doing this. Let's see what else we got. My water. And then I've got a Starbucks snack. I've got their lemon loaf, their lemon pound cake, which pretty good. Alright, so anyway, I see we have a few super chats that came through. I always like responding to them. I always like kind of, answering them. It's also a way to help out the channel, too, at the same time. So I'm going to go and just see what we have here, and then we'll just take it from there. So our first of the night, Nick Wilson, 1011. He just, let's see, submitted $5. Thank you very much, Nick. Italian-American Mafia, he says, I have built an altar in your honor. Well, that's fascinating. I, I would be rather curious to know what precisely that altar would consist of exactly. What if you really were to build an altar in my honor, what would it what do you have in it that kind of defines it as an altar in that regard? What is there? Do you have like a couple neckties strewn about with a shortwave radio surrounded by some candles, or I'm just curious as to what the precise setup of that is. So I'm a little curious on that. Let's see what else we have. I'm going to refresh this page because I have a separate tab where the super chats come in, and some of them weren't showing up, but let's see, refreshing that's better now. Matt, he says, my obligatory donation to your channel. I'll take a shot of vodka for you. Cheers, man. Well, thank you, Matt. Drink responsibly. Drink responsibly. Do the right thing. But wishing you the best on this Saturday evening. Michael, he's checking in. He says, Review Bra, love the Haunted Mansion throw pillows in the back of the car. Keep doing your thing. You're this generation's Mr. Rogers. Well, thank you. Yes, you're able to pinpoint it out as, yep, Haunted Mansion pillows. Haunted Mansion throw pillows. Even have a Haunted Mansion necktie that I'll wear every so often, but let's see. Glad you were able to catch that. A lot of people don't. This guy says, Taco Bell or Del Taco? It's a good question because I've been to both recently. I'll give you a little story about Taco Bell. I like a few items from each. When people kind of give you a question, well, do you like this or that? Do you like Taco Bell or Del Taco? I have a tough time answering those questions because a lot of the time I'm not 100% committed to either one. It's not like I can say Taco Bell definitely, or Del Taco for sure. Rather I say, well, there's a few items from each establishment that I enjoy. Like with Taco Bell, I really like their Baja Blast. I really like their new fries. I like some of their soft tacos and the what else is it that they do good? The beefy nacho grillers. Those are pretty good, the grillers. When it comes down to Del Taco, I find that the quality of their ingredients is higher than that of Taco Bell. That's just my I guess my kind of observation. One of the funny things, though, about Del Taco that I actually like the most, Del Taco serves burgers. And, it's a southwestern grill. It's a southwestern Mexican restaurant. So they specialize in tacos, burritos, all that stuff. But they also have an American grill where you could get like a burger, a cheeseburger, a bacon burger, some fries. And a lot of the times, whenever you get one of these items from a place that doesn't really specialize in it, it's a little worrisome at first, because you're thinking to yourself, gosh, they specialize in a certain type of cuisine, and here I am getting something completely different. How is it? Well, honestly, I really like their burgers. I honestly, I'm like that one guy that gets the hamburgers at Del Taco, but they do a good job at it. I mean, I enjoy it. They do a good job there, and that's just my 2 cents. Let's see what else. What else do we have? I can't guarantee that I'll answer every question, but I'll certainly try my best to get to a large majority of them. This guy says, "What's up? What's up?" Well, nothing much. I'm just kind of hanging out this evening, doing a live stream. Hope all's going well for you. Let's see what else. Joe Pat 1992, the report of the week. Here is my way to support you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. P. Lame writes, when are you going to be doing your next day in the life video? I'm so excited, and I love you so much. Okay, now when it comes to the average day video, I get this question every year. It's an annual video, so it's something that is done every year. and it's done always the same time each year. The average day video is done mid to late June annually. So you could expect it to be out pretty much every year, mid, late June. So that's when it's going to be out. Average day video 2018, mid to late June. That's when it always comes out. It's always going to be coming out in the month of June, so that's when it'll be. Let's see what else we have. Adam writes in, he says, hello from Australia, keep up the amazing food reviews. It's Gween. That's an old throwback, but yes, thank you kindly. What else? Anna, she checks in, she says, hi review, bro, big fan. You're from New York, right? Do they have any Sheetz stores up that way? I live in Pennsylvania and we all swear by them. Good food and service. Well, I am from New York. Not in New York, but I'm from New York. Of course, I've spent a lot of my life in New York. I never really saw any Sheetz stores up there. I saw them more in the mid-Atlantic, like in North Carolina, Virginia. I saw a lot of those establishments there, but not a ton in New York. At least not in my my area. Okay, what else? Let's see. A few people, I know they asked about my necktie. This necktie is kind of like a 90s Art Deco tie. It's the one I'm going with. It says it's a Towncraft necktie. And let's see. I know I got this one at a thrift store. It's a Towncraft necktie. Got this one at a thrift store about a year and a half ago, I'd say. So that's the tie. It's one that I don't wear a lot, but it's one that I feel is kind of underappreciated, so I thought I would break it out for the live stream. The suit that I'm going with is a, let's see, Hart, Schaffner, and Marks suit. Blue window pane 1980s suit. Going with just a standard white shirt, my 2 pens, and a white pocket square, which seems to be kind of disappearing into the pocket further by the minute. But that's my attire for this video. That's what I'm going with. Walking USA Tours, he's checking in. He says, could you please explain the decision-making process on where you decide to part your hair? Well, what I like to do, and it's an intricate process. It's more intricate than really one would think. You ever hear of the coin toss part? And what I do is I'll take a coin. Now it has to be a bigger one. Like a penny's not going to work. I'm not talking about in terms of the actual value. I'm talking size. Usually like a quarter will work the best. But if you could ever get your hands on like a $50 coin, you don't ever see those anywhere. But if that's even better. And what you do is you flip the coin. Okay. You flip it. Now usually when they say like heads or tails, you know, it doesn't come down to that. I flip the coin, and when it lands, I try to see which direction it's facing. And I measure the way that it's facing in proportion to where I'm standing, and I use that little line to mark, all right, that's where I'm going to part my hair for the day. It's just how I do things. It's, as I said, it's a very intricate process, but studies have shown that it's actually the most accurate one in terms of getting the best part for your hair. In all honesty, I just take a comb, I take the thicker end of the comb, I just run it through, and then I just separate it. I always go for a higher part, more of an upper middle part, because I just prefer that style instead of a lower side part. But if you want to try the coin toss method, you can go for it anyway if you want. Anyway, a couple more of these coming in. Let's see what else. Joel checks in. He says, love the channel. What was the most disappointing item you ever had? What was the most surprisingly good? Well, one of the most disappointing items I ever had, actually, was pretty recent. It was the last review I did. Those cheesy tots from Burger King. I mean, man, those things were awful. They were terrible. They were just so disgusting and so I mean, they were inedible. I couldn't even take another bite after that video was done. I was so disgusted by it. So that, at least as of late, was one of the most disappointing. Of course, I think in the channel's history, one thing that a lot of people will mark as one of the most disappointing items, of course, is the butterfly shrimp from Popeyes. Man, I was so disappointed when it came to that. When I was so disappointed because when I had gone to Popeyes for years prior, and when they would get these shrimp released, I mean, I enjoyed those things immensely. They were like one of my favorite things on the menu there. So, sure enough, when they were re-released, I was really looking forward to it. I was thinking to myself, this is going to be good. I just loved the way that they were, and I was really looking forward to it. And then when I tried it, and they really weren't any good this time around, I was so disappointed. So, that one, my reaction in that one was, it was genuine. I was just legitimately disappointed because it was an item, again, that I had a long-standing reputation in my book of being quite good, and then I had it and it was so awful. Imagine that. It's think of like one of your favorite food items and you just expect it to be so good, and then no, it's not. So that was really disappointing. Surprisingly good. I don't know. It's usually the places that are good don't really come as much of a surprise to me. Usually they already have that established reputation of being pretty good. Let's see what else. We care about you. Want to make sure you're getting enough vitamins. I do. I take multivites. I take different types of vitamins. So I make sure I stay in good health every day with a good vitamin regimen. So no worries there. Viva Hate checks in. Been a fan since the water review, and keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Favorite Olympic sport? My favorite Olympic sport, that's a tough one. I'd assume we're going with Winter Olympics at this point in time. I think a common answer when it comes down to the Winter Olympics, everyone says something like, they want to, their favorite is the, what is it, like the snowboarding or the figure skating or whatever. I'm a fan of curling myself. I don't even fully know the rules of the game, but I just watch it. I find it relaxing. And, yeah, I watch the curling sometimes. It's probably my favorite one. As I said, I didn't even know the full rules of it, but it's just kind of, it's relaxing to watch and enjoyable. Certainly is. Alrighty, we're just going to keep going through these super chats here to... As I said, if you want to get a question asked, I would always recommend doing it via the super chat. It's just your best way to kind of get it to stand out. Again, I can't guarantee that I'll get to every question, but it certainly puts it in its own category and will much more likely get it answered in that regard. What is your go-to tie knot? Can you tie a bow tie? That comes from Blake Mills. Well, Blake, my go-to tie knot is the half Windsor knot. I don't usually go with full Windsor. It depends really on the necktie sometimes, but usually it's half Windsor knot, though I will go with a 4-in-hand necktie knot when I'm wearing a wing collar or a detachable imperial collar, because that necktie knot just suits those types of collars better. But with a turn-down collar like so, I will go usually with a half Windsor necktie knot. So that's how that is. All right, let's just keep it up. I always enjoy doing these Q&A types of things. What cam do you use for your videos? I use the Logitech one. I'm looking at it right now. You'd think it has the model number on it, but maybe this... I don't want to disconnect the thing by accident. I think it's the... it's a very common webcam. It's like the Logitech C109. This is just going off of just bare memory here. I think it's like the Logitech C109 webcam or something to that extent. It's like one of the most popular Logitech 1080p webcams. So I think, I'm sure many of you would know which one I'm talking about, but that's the one that I go with. I got it actually at the suggestion of you guys. So I went ahead, spent about 100. I think it cost around 100, but I think it's 100 well spent. It's been doing a good job so far. I find it to be a trustworthy webcam, good good video quality, pretty good CC920. I think that was it. Um, and yeah, it just seems to be doing a good job. Elliot Reagan. When cats and dogs eventually take over, do you think they will abolish motorcycling? And could you tell Paul to do some work? Well, I personally feel that Paul has been doing enough work, so I don't think we should overwork him any more than he already is being. As for the impending cat and dog takeover, I think that they're going to have some feelings of ambivalence when it comes down to motorcycling. I think the cat factions by far will be against the motorcycling, but I think you will find a little bit of disagreement on the matter when it comes down to how the dogs feel about motorcycling. Because you understand, when you're driving about, I mean, you see the pictures of it. Maybe even if you have a dog, you've seen your dog do it, right? You're driving and the dog always likes to stick its head out the window and get that nice breeze. So I have a feeling that the dogs would really be more supportive of motorcycling, while the cats would be against it. I feel that that could lead to some perhaps internal conflict, which hopefully could be resolved peacefully. But again, it's just something, it's kind of a wait and see kind of deal for that. But that's my opinion on the matter. I just want to make sure this is... He says, have you tried Taco Casa? No, I haven't. I haven't. Let's see. Connor, he says, what are your thoughts about Cheesecake Factory? Cheesecake Factory is pretty good for what it is. I've been there a handful of times, a small handful of times, really. Been enjoyable. It's a little pricey for what it is, if you ask me, but they have some good stuff. As I recall it, they had good portion sizes, if not a little too big, but it seemed to be pretty good for what it was. I wasn't really too disappointed by the matter at all. Let's see what else. Have you watched Chicken Connoisseur? Yeah, I have actually. I've watched his videos. His channel really blew up, if it strikes me correct, about, what was it, about a year and a half ago? Maybe give or take a few months. And, oh yeah, he has great production value, really, really good editing skills, and, yeah, he does his thing. He does his thing, and no problem with that at all. I remember at the time some people were saying, he's trying to steal your gimmick, he's doing it. No, he wears the suit. It's a popular garment. There's so many people out there that wear suits. Just because someone else is wearing a suit doesn't mean that they're trying to copy anyone else. He's wearing a suit and tie because he wants to wear one. He's just doing his thing and having fun with it. Nothing wrong with that. Going down anyway. Let's see. Keep killing the game. Canada loves you. Sorry. That came from Mordecai K. Thank you very much. Alejandro, he says, would you ever review military food? Cheers from Texas. Anything's possible. I can't give any guarantees, any promises, but you never know what the future holds. That's what I have to say there. Let's see what else. What else we got? What's your favorite fast food sandwich shop? My boyfriend and I love you and your videos and want to see you review Subway. Well, if that's the case, if you are on the Subway, Team Subway, you'll be disappointed in what I have to say. I'm not a big fan of Subway, honestly. I used to be. Used to be. I always used to get their BLT sandwich, sometimes the BMT, um, on Italian herb and cheese bread, toasted. But nowadays, my favorite sandwich place, I don't know if you'd consider this fast food or not, but I certainly enjoy it, is Publix. Publix Deli. I mean, that is second to none. They do such a good job with their sandwiches. I mean, they just do an amazing job. Kind of blows Subway out of the water. That's just my 2 cents. People are saying I miss a donation. Well, I have about 30 or so to get to, so I'm just making my way down the list. I'll get to every single one, as long as I can, as long as it's not too offensive, vulgar, inappropriate, whatever. So don't worry, I'm just making my way down the list there. No worries there. Jack writes in, he says, been watching the channel for a while. What other subjects fascinate you besides shortwave radio? I enjoy history. History is quite a lot of fun. It's something that I try to just study independently with, whatever comes to mind. I just like to kind of look at it and study it and just go from there. Like recently I was kind of reading about British history around World War II. I was reading about about Neville Chamberlain and Winston Churchill and all of that. And I just wanted to research that for fun, so I did. But history to me is a lot of fun. I always enjoy that. Let's see what else we have. Your God personified, he says. Me and my cult prayed to you every night. Well, that's wonderful. I would disagree with that, but let's see what else we have. Wow, lots coming in tonight. Could he say hi to Austin? He's a huge fan. Hello to you, Austin. Big hello. Big shout out to you. Tom writes in, greetings from New Jersey. I want to know if you could recommend any good radio shows to me, and what are some good cheap radios you could recommend. Well, I have a list of that in the description. Check that out for radios. Just look in the description right now. You'll see the recommendations right there. Otherwise, for good radio shows, I like listening to international broadcasters. I like Radio Romania International, like China Radio International. Like listening to a music station called the Mighty KBC. I also like listening to some local AM, FM stations, but it's something that I could go on and on about, but I just kind of want to catch up on some of the super chats here. Typewriter LG checks in, says, please say, every man a king. I don't know what that's in reference to. I'm sure it's some sort of reference that I missed out on big time, but it's been said. Let's see. Anna checks in again. She says, hello again. Do you have a name for your fan base? Everyone seems to call you God, so I was thinking disciples, and have you ever listened to K-pop? Well, when it comes down, no, I don't have a name for my fan base. Like some people have, I don't know, have come up with all sorts of names, but I don't have any name for the fan base. You're just the viewers. I really haven't thought of a name. I just I know some people come up with quirky things, but I haven't. But you never know what'll come up in the future. But I just don't have any sort of distinct name for the fan base. Let's see what else we got here. Lewis Taylor checks in. Hello, my friend. My friend Erwan and I are wondering if you would ever come to Scotland to try some of the food here. Love the vids from Scotland. Maybe. It's kind of a question that I do get each show in terms of traveling abroad. Will I visit this location or that location? Will I go to Japan? Will I go to, France? Will I go to Brazil? Will I go to Scotland? And my answer for you is I'm not a big traveler. Traveling, especially abroad, it's very expensive, but it's something. Again, I'm not gonna discount any ideas for the future. You never know. Right now, it's not like I have an established plan saying that, yeah, I'll see you in Scotland in 3 weeks. But as I said, you never know what the future holds. That's my best answer for you there. And, uh, and that's what I have there. Let's see what else. Producer Chris checks in. John, will you ever become a serious food critic reviewing top dollar cuisine formally? Well, it's interesting that you say that. I wouldn't say that's my intention. I don't think I'm going to end up being a professional food critic. Really, as a matter of fact, when it comes down to this channel, what I've been trying to do. Now, the success of this venture can be debated, and it can be put into question, but honestly, what I've been trying to do with this channel for the last couple months is trying to de-emphasize that it's only a food channel, because I'm trying to make this a channel of a little bit of everything. For instance, with these live streams, right? It's a little bit of everything. I kind of just want this to be a channel where there will be food reviews, and I'll be critiquing some popular items, some major new releases, but I don't want this to only be a food channel. I don't. That's just what I would prefer. I would prefer that it could be a variety of things where people can come to this channel to see the reviews if they want to see them, but they can also come for some more miscellaneous content as well, like these live streams, for instance, right, where they can see me just discuss miscellaneous topics, talk about some random stuff, hear my perspective on various things, points, topics, etc., and some random videos, do some funny little videos here and there. I just don't want this channel to just be associated with food and let that be it exclusively. I would rather this be a variety channel where, as I said, if people want to see me review a burger, they can see that. If they want to see me talk about radio, they can see that. If they want to see me talk about random subjects, they can see that too. That's what I kind of want this channel to be going forward. It's something I've been trying to work on, as I said, these last 2 months. And, that's just my few cents there. Okay, going on. Let's see, what's with the UCF banner? Well, it's just there. I don't mind UCF. They're very good. Good school. Good sports teams. Mary writes in. She says, "Please stop being so mean to Burger King. I'm sorry, your BK sucks." Well, it's not just my BK. I've been to about 5 or 6 in the region, and they're all equally subpar. I don't mean to hold any undue animosity towards them. It's just that when it comes down to things, when I consistently get bad items from a place, it's sometimes tough not to get a grudge. But I mean, look back, for instance, at the BK. What is that thing? Like the BK something something King burger that I reviewed a few weeks ago. I'm wearing the gray suit in that. You could check it back. It's just a couple videos back. I was very kind to Burger King in that regard. It was a very friendly, positive review, and I was very kind to them because they did a good product. They did a good job, and I try to be as fair as I can be to them. I know I sometimes can hold a grudge, but I give them credit where credit is due, and I'll give them criticism where they deserve it. So that's where that comes in. Will we ever get a Whataburger review? That's from Copland OS. Unfortunately, I have no Whataburger locations nearby. If I find a location or if I'm near a Whataburger location, then I'd be curious to try it out myself, so then you'd get a review of it. But until then, unfortunately, same thing with Jack in the Box. Same thing with In-N-Out Burger. Unfortunately, I haven't any locations of theirs in the vicinity, so I can't do a review of it. I know a lot of people watch the channel. They're located in California and Texas, where these chains are more prevalent. And unfortunately, where I am, they aren't. But should I find myself nearby one, I'll be happy to give it a shot. Anyway, Uncertain Gemini checks in. Can give a shout out to Jude and Becky. Shout out to both of you. Let's see. OS checks in. What do you do to stay motivated? You're the GOAT. Well, we all have our bad days, but what keeps me motivated most of all is those close to me, my loved ones. That's really what keeps me going. We all have our bad days. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and try to say, well, I haven't any bad days. I'm always no. What keeps me motivated is my loved ones, those close to me, and that's really my support system, my support network. That's what keeps me on my toes and keeps me going. But it's different for everyone. Every person's different, and every person has different things that keep them motivated. There's not really one universal answer out there. Daniel Burwood, thank you for checking in. Let's see what else we have. Yeah, that's not really a child-friendly joke, but that's made me laugh. Shout out to Lewis though. Let's see what else we have. Shout out to Sean Owen, and another shout out to Italian American Mafia. Hello to both of you. No Dreams But Memes checks in. Have you ever heard the song Rock and Roll McDonald's? No, I haven't. I could give that a check if you're interested. I could kind of check it out. Continuing onward, I should say. As I said, we got lots of questions coming in tonight, so there's a little bit of a backlog, but I'm doing my best to get to all of them. Ralph Maddock checks in. Thank you, Ralph. Let's see. Feebucks checks in. She says, hi, could you please say hi, Craig? My BF loves you. Hello, Craig. Hello to you. Big shout out your way. Let's see what else we got. We're just making our way through the questions. This is just some miscellaneous talk, some miscellaneous Q&A coming in your way on the live stream tonight. Let's see what else. Keep up the great work. Shout out to Matthew Turner. Yep, shout out to Mr. Matthew Turner. Big shout out your way. Lone Wolf 98. He's checking in. He says, here's some Queen money for you. Have you ever heard of Spangles? You should review some food from there. No, I haven't. What is Spangles? I've heard of Bojangles, but I haven't heard of Spangles. Let me Google that. Spangles is a family-owned fast food chain based in Wichita, Kansas. Serves third-pound burgers. Okay, well, no, I guess it's not in my neck of the woods. No, I haven't heard of it, but again, kind of like the whole Whataburger situation, if I were to find myself there and if the opportunity presents itself, I'd give it a shot. Let's see what else. Hi, John. Can you give a shout-out to Travis and Dustin? Yep, shout-out to both of you. Additionally, what pens do you use, and why do you not use the best consumer pen of all, the Pilot Precise V7 RT? Well, I use cross pens, refillable. I don't know the exact model, but you can see I just like the aesthetic of this. It writes well. It just writes very smoothly. The ink is very nice. I like the design. I just like how it looks when it's clipped to the shirt. And it's just a very good pen. So that's just my personal taste, but if you're not a fan of those types of pens, that's fine. And if you like the Pilot Precise V7 pens better, then that's what works best for you. Matches checks in, says, do you believe in aliens or any cryptids, paranormal things? I think extraterrestrial life exists. In the conventional sense, like, where people say they see flying saucers flying around everywhere, I put some doubt towards that. It's certainly possible that aliens may have visited Earth, but it's not something that I would go out all the way and put truth to those claims, but I think that extraterrestrial life definitely does exist. For a while, I used to be a believer in kind of like Bigfoot type of stuff. I would say, well, maybe it's possible that Bigfoot exists, but I've cast forth doubt to that. I don't really, I mean, you never know. There could be some sort of, undiscovered creature of that sort, but I think in the traditional sense, I don't think Bigfoot or any of that does exist. As a matter of fact, I think they just a couple months ago almost disproved the theories of the Yeti. They said it was like some sort of bear, as a matter of fact. Very interesting. The other day, I do my shortwave broadcasts, and the shortwave signals have a very large coverage area. And it's so amazing. The reason why I love shortwave radio so much is because of the audience that it reaches. It's the diverse audience. And the other day, I got an email from someone who is actually located in the complete wilderness in British Columbia, Canada. He sent an email via satellite, and he said he's a Bigfoot hunter, and he's in the middle of the woods with his radio listening to the broadcast, and he said, he's got evidence of Bigfoot and everything. And I thought that was just pretty cool, the fact that someone over there is actually tuned in, and listening. And that's just the thing, the diverse audience you can hear. Someone was saying this is cringy. Well, I get so many comments. Everything I do is cringy. I mean, if I drink a glass of water, it's cringy. If I just sit there and stare at the wall, it's cringy. If I listen to the radio, it's cringe. If I do a live stream, it's cringe. So everything is cringe. Everything and anything really is just a cringe fest, Julio checks in. How's your day been so far? Going good. Can't complain. Good day. Just starting out, but it's a good day so far. Fritzy writes in, you inspire my clothing style. It's a pleasure to do that. Thank you. Billy Mays. Billy Mays. Have you ever tried poutine fries? No, I've heard of them. Never really tried them, but I've of course heard of them. And I guess it's kind of similar to cheese fries over here. Joe Strange 8 checks in. My disappointment is immeasurable. My day is ruined. Yep. Ellis G writes in, greetings from New Jersey. Since you're interested in World War II British history, have you ever watched The Crown on Netflix? If not, I recommend it, as it is entertaining and engaging view into post-war Britain. No, I haven't checked it out. Mostly I've just been reading lots of articles and mostly just reading, but certainly videos can kind of help give a different perspective into that matter. Let's see what else we got here. Ralph Maddock again, he says, I sent you $10 in addition to review Smashburger. Can you say hi to my wife, Stephanie? Hello, Stephanie. Shout out to you. And Smashburger, yeah, I don't think I ever did a review of them, but I have tried them. I can say I do enjoy their burgers. They, for something that kind of emphasizes that the core of their eatery is them, smashing the you-know-what out of the burger meat. They're good burgers. They do a good job there. Morpho checking in. Anything new in the energy drink market? There was one drink I thought I heard something about it, but the name escapes me. So I don't think anything at this time. But, I sometimes just give the convenience stores a little, a look over and just see if there's anything of interest there. Guess this is some sort of meme now. Review bra, will you pass the biscuits, Pappy? I guess that's just some meme that I'm not aware of. I haven't any biscuits here, I'm afraid, but if there were, I suppose I would pass them on your way. Travis checking in from Charlotte. He says, we have tons of Jack in the Box locations here. Come visit me. Yeah, unfortunately, again, no Jack in the Box locations here. But again, if I ever find myself in the location of one, you'll see. This guy wants me to give a shout out to something, but I'm not really sure what it is. I kind of just want to make sure it's yeah, I guess it's okay. He says shout out to Star Clan. All right, a shout out sent their way. Mary checks in again. What's your favorite go-to fast food meal? Well, it depends on what restaurant you're talking about. I mean, for McDonald's, I usually get double hamburger, no cheese, and some fries. From Taco Bell, I usually get beefy nacho griller, no cheese. From Burger King, if I do get anything from there, sometimes it'll be a Whopper, sometimes I get the chicken fries. From Wendy's, I don't go to Wendy's, unfortunately, but if it were, it would be probably their spicy chicken sandwich. Sometimes when I do these, I just get a dry mouth. That's just why I'm drinking the water a little bit more today. Emerson checking in. You mentioned public subs. You ever tried the subs from Wegmans? They have outstanding food. Please take the opportunity to review. Now, people have compared the Wegmans subs to the Publix ones. So far, I've just been kind of a loyal pub sub consumer. But yeah, maybe one day I'll probably get a Wegmans sub and a Publix sub and maybe try to do a side-by-side comparison if that can be done easily. Love the channel. Will you review the song Rock and Roll McDonald's by Leslie Willis? Well, that's the second time this song has been brought up, and that's I don't know if is that the newest chart-topping hit that's going around nowadays? I don't know. Again, I haven't checked it out. Let's see. Can you give a shout out to Kale and Drumwell for me? Thank you. Shout out to both of you. Mary writing in again. Have you ever heard of Nemo's snack cakes? If so, they not amazing. If not, will you? Nemo's snack cakes. No, I'm curious. Sometimes I like to just kind of search these things up at the same time. I was wondering if that was like kind of a Hostess brand snack, but I'm looking at it right now. It seems like they're the ones that are individually wrapped. I think I've seen them. I'm pretty sure I've seen them here and there, but I've never really had them, or if I have no distinct recollection of it. Okay, what else do we have? What percentage of meals do you eat and not record for a review? Well, I'd say a large percentage. I mean, I eat every single day, and I don't film what I'm eating every single day. So when it comes down to that, a large percentage, I'd say probably like 80%. Whatever I eat when I'm not filming a review, of course. It's not like that's the only thing that I ever eat when I've got the camera on and I'm eating. So most of what I eat, really, I just I don't film it. Anna also writes in, last one, will you make a Discord server? No, I'm afraid not. I've heard that people made an unofficial Discord server, and then people were saying it just has all this racist stuff in it, and I want no association with that. I don't want to be affiliated with that. So that just completely just turns me off to that entirely, and I just have no desire to get into that, I'm afraid. I know a number of you might be disappointed because Discord is the big thing now, I imagine, but I haven't any plans to get into that at this moment. Maybe going forward, who's to say? I mean, a year ago I had no plan on live streaming or making a Twitter profile, so you never know. But it's just, after hearing that, kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, so to speak. Would you kindly shout out my siblings, Chicken and Potato? Long live the report of the week. All right, shout out to the two of you. This individual writes, what time does your shortwave show start? Tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay, 4 p.m. Eastern. If you're in North America, check out 9395 kilohertz, 7780 kilohertz, 9265 kilohertz. If you're in Europe, 7780, 4 p.m. Eastern. If you're in Florida, the Caribbean, and parts of Central South America, 9265 kilohertz, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm having some trouble keeping the 9265 broadcast on the air, but I think I'm going to keep it going another month at least, because it provides good coverage to parts of the country where the other transmissions kind of skip over and don't really make it. What else do we have? Sean says, please shout out Ryan Campbell. Shout out to you, Ryan. Daniel Fishburne writes in. He says, really love the channel. Do you play Overwatch? I'm afraid I don't. I've heard a lot about that game, but I've never really gotten into it at all. Have you heard Yes, We Have No Bananas? That song is fire. Not to my memory. I mean, I've heard a lot of music, so I'm sure I could have heard it somewhere. Maybe, some video or something, but I'm sure I might have heard it. I don't know. The song just doesn't ring a bell at all. All right, now we're kind of getting down to the bottom of things here, which is good. I had a big backlog, but finally kind of catching up through that is good. Matt checking in again. Have you ever heard of Ball's energy drink? I found out about them during a paintball tournament. The sales associate at Target didn't believe they exist. Yes, I actually have done about 3 or 4 reviews of the Ball's energy drinks on this channel. Look it up, search it up, you'll see them. It's very good energy drinks. I haven't had them in a long time, but I was always impressed by the design of it. I always liked it, how it tastes. I just found it was a very, very good energy drink, and it was very enjoyable. Bow Wow writes in, what's your favorite wing flavor? Usually medium to hot. When the wings are too hot, I feel that it kind of just ruins the experience, because now all of a sudden you're just focusing on the metaphorical heat and possible pain it's caused you. So it's, I just prefer medium because it kind of gives you a little bit of heat, not too much, but enough to kind of add some flavor. Olivia, she writes in, if you're ever in Missouri or Kansas, try Emo's Pizza. All right, thank you for that suggestion. I know a lot of these chains that have been recommended to me have, kind of originate in that part of the country. What the heck is this? Never even heard of that. Have you ever tried BOFA from Wendy's? What is that? It doesn't really sound like a real item. What the heck is that? I'm looking this up. I'm lost. I'm just gonna pretend that never happened. But also a shout out to Jackson and Zach. Shout out to both of you. Was the slipper video a plug? No, actually, the slipper video in and of itself, I wanted to do a random video that day because originally I was just gonna say, all right, what to do, what to do, and I was kind of thinking, well, I can do a pizza review, I can do a pizza type video, another food review, but I thought to myself, because as I mentioned earlier in the stream, I've been trying to make an effort to kind of diversify the channel's contents. And the idea came about maybe to just make a video on slippers. And that's how it really came about. It's just kind of a lighthearted, funny video on slippers. And, that's all that it was, just having some fun with this, just a common, mundane object. Mr. Fishburne checks in again. Do your parents support the channel? They do. They're very supportive. Came through a little bit of a rough patch with it about a year ago, but everything's settled out. Everything's on good terms, and that's good. Everything good there. Eddie checks in. You ever tried Jersey Mike's? Maybe once or twice, but not to any large degree. I can't say that I'm a frequent customer of Jersey Mike's. What's your favorite ice cream? I always like, well, there's a couple. I always like vanilla ice cream. Vanilla is probably my favorite. Sometimes strawberry's good. Sometimes banana's good. Usually those three. There's a few more that are good, but that's what comes to mind. And Jessica writes in 2 Discord servers. One is civil, I promise. Well, again, I'm afraid as I said, I just have a bad taste in my mouth with that. I know that, as I said, a lot of people, the Discord servers are very popular, but again, after having seen some of the things that people who are just curious about the channel, they see a Discord server associated with it, and then they go in and then they see this absolute trash in it, and then they get this really negative image and get really turned off the channel because of it. It's just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't even want to endorse any of that. I'm afraid I don't. It's just something that's just where it stands right now. And this is from months ago, but I've just been so disgusted by it. I'm afraid I just can't. As I said, it just leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. Maybe it'll be something that I'll get past in due time, but it's just something that I don't want to do right now. Jacob, thank you for your support. Thank you for checking in. And Grace writes in. She says, if you could travel back to a different era for a day, which one would you choose? Probably travel back to maybe the 1910s or 1920s. A lot of people associate me with the 1940s, though really all these suits and attire that I wear are 1980s. And when it comes down to men's fashion, 1980s suits kind of took a bit of a inspiration from 1940s styles. So really, the clothing I wear is all 1980s, not 1940s. But it kind of goes down to a bit of I guess, an older style and can be seen as 1940s. But as I said, it's really 80s. But a lot of people associate me with the 40s. But as I said, usually I go with 80s or 90s in terms of dress. But if there's an era that I could check out for a day, it'd be 1910s, 1920s, just to kind of go around and just see really how different the world was back then, and see maybe some of the shocking differences firsthand, or some of the surprising similarities. There were some YouTube videos I was watching the other day that were some interviews with elderly individuals filmed in 1929 with sound footage as well. And it was just fascinating to see these interviews of people who were like 100 years old in the year 1929. So they were born in the early 1800s, and to kind of hear their stories and their views and all of that, it's a very good historic preservation. It was just fascinating to watch, but I'd just be interested to kind of check it out for a day, Let's see. The Wendy's by my house burned down recently. No joke. Also love your content. Have a nice night. Thank you. Well, that's expected. It's with any fast food place, really, accidents happen. I know I saw some post online somewhere that a Taco Bell near someone's house caught fire. I mean, that stuff happens. It happens with restaurants, of course, when they're kind of dealing with flames and everything. And it just happens from time to time, accidents like that. It's part of the life process. Matt writes in, the vodka's starting to hit. I know the channel's getting bigger, and I just want you to know that for every hateful comment you get, there's 1,000 positive supporters. We love you and your content. Thank you, Matt. Stay safe. Don't do anything stupid. Be responsible, and enjoy your evening. Sean says, could you please say, all right, I'll say it. You're a good friend of mine, Ryan Campbell. Thank you for your continued support. And let's see. Keep up the good work, supporting you always, from Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. And all right, so pretty much now we've gotten through most of the super chats. There is one thing that I did want to show you all. It's kind of, I think, even in the title here, where this video is titled Live Stream Q&A Random Talk, right? We got both of those. My new radio find. Well, yeah, if you've watched enough of these live streams, I go on about radio incessantly. But my new radio find, what does that mean exactly? What is that pertaining to? I mean, you know about this radio, of course. I've shown this one off so many times. The Texan radio. Great one. This is my favorite radio. I recommend this one very much so, but it's a good radio. And my new radio, I am going to talk about Amtrak. Don't worry about that. But my new radio find, what am I talking about there? Well, the other day, I know I go to a lot of thrift stores and secondhand stores as of late, and I always look for radios there. I always kind of look for shortwave radios. Some people ask me, they say, you ever find a good shortwave radio at Goodwill, whatever? My answer to that, though, is I never really do. You always just find usually just beat up garbage there. But the other day, I was taking a night walk, and as I was walking through the neighborhood, I was just taking a walk, and I saw at the base of someone's driveway. Now, when you see something, especially a number of objects, kind of at the curb, person's getting rid of them, they're throwing them out, and they're there for anyone to take. And I couldn't believe what I saw. There was this vintage multi-band radio from the 70s. It was trying to compete. It was almost like a Zenith transoceanic radio. And it was in good enough condition that I stopped, and I thought to myself, this person's throwing this radio away. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. It's being thrown away. I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to test it out. And guess what? If it's broken and it doesn't work, I'm just going to throw it away myself. No loss there. If it works, guess what? I just found a great vintage radio literally on the side of the street while I was taking a walk. So I cleaned it up. There weren't any nests of spiders in it. There weren't any rats living in it or anything like that. It was in pretty good condition. I turned it on, and sure enough, it's not in perfect condition. It's got a few flaws, but but I certainly can get audio from it, and I'll show you. It's a old, early 70s Sears radio, if you can see this thing, but this is what I found. Right here, this old school radio right here. As I said, it's in working condition. I know it's a little beat up. It's not in top shape, but listen, I'd say for finding this thing on the side of the street for free and having this thing work, it's a pretty good find. But I found it, claimed it, and it's a working vintage radio that was just getting thrown out, and sure enough, there it is. So I just wanted to kind of show that off. It's not something, of course, that maybe I'll feature it in a video or something, and you could see it in action. But I mean, for what it is, it was just a surprising find. I never expected to see that thing laying on the street right there, and it was just a good find for what it was. So that's what I found, and yeah, that's where that stands. So anyway, I got a few more questions. Let's see what we got here. Someone say skip the. Well, let me look. Let me see if I did. Well, Jackson, you said I skipped your super chat. I did that for good reason, because it's not appropriate to read on the air. So I'm not gonna read that. I know it's one of those plays on words that people think that I'm just gonna aimlessly say and not understand that it's saying something very inappropriate. But I see what that is, and I'm not gonna read that, even if you did send me that, I'm afraid. Okay, what else? My wife bought me a blue goblet for Valentine's Day, but a great gift. Yeah, the blue goblet. Was it the exact one, or no? Was it like an exact replica of the blue? Well, they call it the blue chalice, but was it like an exact copy of it, or not? Either way, it's a very nice glass. It's a very ornate drinking receptacle. It's very nice. The only thing really that I have an issue with, it can be very delicate, so I have to be careful when it comes down to that. And the other thing when it comes down to this glass, I guess it's two things, is the fact that it doesn't hold a huge amount of water. So if you really want to just guzzle down the water en masse, it's just it's just you need to refill it a few times. All right, what else do we have? I always worry about how I look to others in the clothes I wear, so I really respect you for being confident while wearing unique clothing. Well, thank you for your kind words there. It's that's not something that happened overnight. It took many years to kind of build that up, because there were times when I was younger, especially, when I was very nervous to wear a tie out when not a lot of people my age were, and it was something that I was kind of scared to do, even though I really wanted to. It took a while to overcome, but eventually now it's just become second nature to wear that. Mark writes, and he says, "Are you happy, bro?" Very much so, actually. I'm very happy. Very, very happy. So no worries there at all. I certainly am. Sometimes I know I might come off as kind of more serious, or maybe tired, but no, I'm very happy. No worries there. See what else. Hi, loved the skincare routine video. Thank you. Yeah, that was a pretty unique one right there. That was but again, that was just a random video that I wanted to do, and I'm happy that you enjoyed it. Hello, review bro. Will you review Firehouse Subs or Jersey Mike's? They're my favorite sub places. And Buffalo Wild Wings or Wingstop. Peace, brother. again, sandwiches, it's a topic, I guess it's been brought up a couple times in tonight's airing. It's possible. For wings, now I know I've been to both of those places, Buffalo Wild Wings or Wingstop. I prefer Buffalo Wild Wings, but when it comes down to it, either of them, it's not a place that I'd really frequent. Buffalo Wild Wings, they taste pretty good, but my goodness, those things are extremely overpriced. And sometimes they don't make me feel very well after I eat them. But Wingstop is alright, but they're pretty standard, if you ask me. Toot McGoot checking in again. I remember you from the last stream or two. R3 Vision checking in. Thank you. Brandon Hayes writes in, you look like my friend's brother. Well, that's great. Good to know. And what else? Nick writes in, Review Bra, what inspired you to start making videos like these? Have a good day. Well, it depends what you mean. When it comes down to it, making videos like these, now do you mean just YouTube videos in general, or do you mean these live streams? I guess I would imagine that that it's in reference to kind of these live streams. Well, what inspired me to do that is, well, really, I just decided to do a live stream. It's really all that there is to it. I just decided, well, I'm going to go live. I'm going to give it a shot, see what happens, and I really enjoyed it. Then I tried it again, really enjoyed it, and then I decided I'm just going to make that I'm just going to make that a kind of a regular thing, a monthly, a monthly type of event, and I just answer some questions, some comments, do a little feedback, whatever it might be, and yeah, that's where that stands. Someone was saying, is this all an act? No, what you see is what you get. It's it's just me being me, just kind of sitting here on this, as I said, this Saturday evening, answering a couple questions, doing some miscellaneous talk, and yeah, that's where that stands. Reddit says you're 40. Is that true? Yeah, I'm 40, and I also work at the drive-thru at some place in Oklahoma. What else do we have? Yes, this radio was a Sears Roebuck Comtrek. I think Comtech, one or the other radio from the early 70s. Very good eye on that. Yep, I think that was kind of Sears Roebuck's way of trying to compete with the Zenith transoceanic radios at the time, when these types of multi-band radios are really much more popular. This specific radio comes with long wave, medium wave, shortwave 1, shortwave 2, FM, and then a couple VHF bands. I know it comes with the Air Band, Police, and I think Weather also. So it has a lot of different bands, and it was just some good variety to listen on. Of course, it again, it's not perfect, but it was certainly good for what it was. New Amtrak video. Well, I haven't really taken the train anywhere as of late. There is, when it comes down to Amtrak, I feel bad for them. I do. There's been so many unfortunate circumstances that have come to pass with Amtrak in the last few months, where the train derails here, the train gets on the wrong track there, the train hits a garbage truck here, the train crashes there, this and that, and I understand that some of these accidents are Amtrak's fault, but a good number of them aren't. It's just unfortunate circumstance, but then everyone just grabs the pitchforks and goes out against Amtrak as a result of it, and it's kind of sad to see that. I feel bad for Amtrak. I think they really do an immense service in terms of inexpensive travel, being able to see the country in a fun way, and also being able to kind of connect smaller, more rural communities with the greater United States. So it's disappointing the amount of, I think, unnecessary hate Amtrak gets because of all of these calamities that have happened. But I suppose it's just the way things go. All right, let's see what else we got here. Greyheart21, hope you're doing well and love the choice of the tie. Thank you. Yeah, as I said earlier at the start of the stream, this is a tie that I go with infrequently, but it's a good one. I like it. I think it goes nicely with this suit or any blue suits, and I'm happy you enjoy it. Let's see what else. Real LA King. I run a Southern California fair booth. Please review my food. Well, the issue with that is how do I know that booth is yours particularly? I don't know. What if I go to the wrong booth thinking that it's you, and I try them out and give them a review, and then it turns out I'm just reviewing some different guy's fair booth? Let's see what else. Please say my name. I just want you to say it once. Kawaii potato. Let's see what else. I paid $2, but I think the message faded away. That sometimes happens. Huge fan of the videos. Can you please give Fred Merrill W. Jr. a big happy birthday and pizza. All right, big shout out to you. What shortwave shows do you regularly listen to? I listen to some of the, just some of the international broadcasters. I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, usually around this time, I'll actually check. Might not be the case, I don't know. Sometimes I listen to Radio Marti at this hour. Yeah, they run a music show at this hour, so I can't play it on YouTube, but yeah, Radio Marti, 6030 kilohertz. They do some good music programs. I usually listen to them right now at this hour. It's in Spanish, but the music they play is very diverse, and I sometimes like to say music is a universal language, crosses barriers, and they have some good shows. Interferencia, they call it, which is kind of ironic. It's a top 40 music program, which is called Interference, which is kind of weird and possibly insulting to the music that they play on it. It almost sounds like like something that someone who hates music would call it. And then another show that I listen to on Radio Marti is called Archivo Musical, which musical archive, and they play some older stuff. They usually play some 80s, 90s rock, some 70s stuff, and that's always a good mix too. So I usually listen to that on the Saturday evenings. It's a fun show, comes in really good here. But I listen to a lot of other broadcasters. Anna writes in K-pop. Listen to K-pop. It's life-changing. There's one shortwave station, KBS World Radio, which is South Korea's international broadcaster. They'll play some K-pop. I was scanning around on a shortwave radio located in South Korea, and it's a online radio, so it's based in South Korea, so I can kind of tune around and see what shortwave stations can be heard, in South Korea. And there's tons of stuff on the air over there because shortwave listenership in North Korea is still extremely high. A lot of people there still rely on shortwave radio to get news and everything. So lots of stations from other countries try and broadcast their news, information, religious stuff, music, or foreign propaganda into North Korea. Of course, North Korea does the same thing externally, but it's like a kind of a radio war that's going on with all these competing stations there. And some of them are jammed very seriously, but there is one station that was beamed from South Korea into North Korea that was just blasting this K-pop music. And there's one song that I did find pretty catchy. Had a few English lyrics in it. I think it's called Bounce. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Let me look that up. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was a K-pop song, and it was called Bounce. And I thought to myself, actually, even though it's probably a song aimed at, probably younger folks in the area, I thought, that's actually kind of catchy. Let's see what else. Kyle checks in. You're more Jay Gatsby than Leo DiCaprio. Yeah. In that movie, The Great Gatsby, the one thing that really got me there was the cut of the suits. The style there was just a little too... I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to really exaggerate the flamboyance of the 1920s. But the suits back then still had a more drapier cut in some ways, whereas they were wearing like complete slim fit suits in the film, which isn't entirely accurate. Yes, in the 1920s there were people that wore more tapered suits, but at the same time you had things like suits and Oxford bags, and of course you had more traditional holdouts that were wearing sack suits, still wearing frock coats and wing collars and top hats. So in the 1920s, it's not like everyone was just wearing a really extremely tapered, slim-fit suit. You had a little bit of everything. I mean, you had, you had stylish people, but just like today, if you were to walk around in New York City, in Wall Street, and just really pay attention to the suits that you see all the business people wearing, you're not going to see everyone wearing a brand new slim-fit suit. You're going to see probably 75% wearing those types of suits, but you're still going to see people today wearing 90s suits, 80s suits. You'll see an old 70s suit here and there. You'll see, you'll still see a lot of older stuff mixed in. Just because something's popular in a decade doesn't mean that every single person wears that. Just like some people seem to be so surprised that in the late 60s there were still people that wore fedora hats and suits too, Yes, the hippie culture back then was what was really popular and what has come to kind of define that part of the decade, but it's not like every single person in the late 60s was a hippie. Same type of deal. Just like in the 2010s, when people will look back at this and think of people with the beards and the undercuts in terms of styling themselves, just because that's the defining image doesn't mean that that's what everyone, doesn't mean that that's what everyone really wore or presented themselves as. Anyway, just a misconception that just came to mind. Elder Scrolls writes in, what the F is this? Yeah. Well, it's me sitting here in front of a camera just giving some miscellaneous talk. So that's what's going on there. Mike Bombera writes in, keep up the good work. You show that YouTube can still support unique channels. Can you give me a shout out? Yep, shout out your way. Thank you for your contribution, and thank you for your kind words. I just try to do my thing on YouTube. As I said, I try to just keep this channel a little bit of a variety now, of a little bit of everything. Some food reviews here, some random talk here, some live streams here. We got the radio show. That's a completely different entity, but it's part of this channel. We have that on the airwaves and on SoundCloud. We got a little bit of everything. And some people, because, say a certain video gets demonetized or a certain video doesn't get, as many views as they wanted, I get the frustration that comes along with that. My goodness, I could get frustrated myself. But I never try to go out and completely bite the hand that feeds me, because I have to remember, YouTube, I know everyone can get frustrated with YouTube, right? Everyone's got their frustrations with a platform if they use it enough. But honestly, when it comes down to it, if it weren't for YouTube, this channel wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be here doing this live stream for all of you right now. None of these videos would be here right now. None of this would be what it is today. So I have to also be thankful at the same time for YouTube for really, almost for their generosity in a sense. Because I know sometimes it can be pretty popular to go all out on YouTube for their faults and flaws, which, I don't blame. No, I don't blame some people, but we can't forget that YouTube is the reason why kind of we're all here right now. I just see some people just going out kind of too hard, on YouTube. What else do we have? Would you be interested in going on the H3 podcast? Well, you never know. Certainly, if I was invited, I'd definitely check it out, and I would just be interested in seeing what they would be, up for discussing, what they would want to talk about or whatever. Let's see. Review, bro. Have you ever thought about reviewing ties? Argyle, plaid, paisley, etc. Please consider. I enjoy wearing ties. Please consider. Take care. Tie reviews. Well, that's interesting. If I were to do tie reviews, I have a feeling that I should just therefore branch out to full-blown sartorial reviews. But it all depends. When it comes down to clothing, fashion, its definitions, etc., the one thing that kind of would be, in what way would I review the ties? Would I base it off of just their appearance and quality? Would I say, like this tie, for instance, right? I know a lot of people liked it, but by current standards, this entire ensemble is not fashionable, right? It's not fashionable at all. According to current menswear trends, though I have a feeling that suits are going to kind of get a little drapier going forward because it's a pendulum that swings back and forth. But right now, by today's current standards, the jacket is too loose, the pants are too wide, they shouldn't be pleated, the lapels are too wide, the pattern on the tie is outdated, the tie is too wide, the shirt isn't slim fit, and it's not a suit at all that would conform to today's fashion standards. So if I were to critique this outfit, it would get a very low rating in terms of what is considered fashionable in the year 2018. But if you were to look at it as a generalization, looking at it as past trends, then you could say, well, this suit, it's a good 80s suit, whatever, so on and so forth. So it all comes down to, how would I define it? How would I compare it? Would I compare it to what's fashionable today? Or would I look at it stylistically? And that's a good, it's a question. So there's something to think of. Radio station 102.9, Philadelphia Classic Rock. I don't think I would have any likelihood of being able to pick that up here, because unfortunately I'm not in Philadelphia. And I mean, even in terms of FM DXing, that'd be a tough catch. Be a tough catch. Let's see what else we got. We got a few more come in. Let me just wait for these. Okay. On a serious note, have you ever been bullied for your channel or extensive knowledge of the finer things? If so, how do you deal with it? Well, of course. You could, if you consider, for instance, all of the bad comments, right, all of the haters and all that, you could say, well, yeah, every day, every day for 5 years. You get people that come to the channel and find every little thing to criticize on. Where, as I said, they'll find everything in this outfit, criticize that. They'll say something about the way I look, the way I sound, the way I talk, the way this video is, the fact that I'm just existing right now. Some people will get upset by that. So yes, of course, people attack me from every single angle imaginable, really. People will always, if it's exposed to a large enough audience, people will always find something to attack you for. Find something they don't like. Find something to criticize. And my first big experience with that was in late 2013, when the channel first got passed around on 4chan. And of course the folks over there were not very kind on the channel. And at that time, because I hadn't been exposed to such a sheer amount of such harsh criticism and hate, I took a lot of the stuff that they were saying about the channel personally. And it made me very depressed at the time, because I was taking these, hate, troll comments as though they were personal and not, useless conjecture, which is really what they are. And that got me down for a while, but trial and error and just I guess that's the continual exposure to it kind of, I just built up a shell to all that, and now when I go through the comments, there's so much stuff there that, you just shrug off, because you've heard it hundreds of times, if not thousands. So it doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't hold any significance. So it's just that so much exposure to it, you just come to just be desensitized to that bad stuff. You just ignore it. It's just, it doesn't mean anything to you anymore. And that's how I get past it and get through it. Let's see what else we got. You're such an upstanding and generous man. I think I could speak for the entire fan base when I say you're greatly appreciated worldwide. Thank you very much for your kind words. I really do appreciate that. User01 is checking in. Says, great job. Keep up the great work. Proud of you. Thank you. What kind of music do you listen in your off time outside Shortwave? Love the show. Thanks for the stream. Shout out to Kincaid. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm certain it was. And Colin. Well, I listened to a lot of stuff. I was actually just listening to some Simon and Garfunkel the other day. They were such a good group from the 60s. I've always been more of a fan of Paul Simon when it comes down to that. But I've been listening to a lot of Simon and Garfunkel. And I was listening to their song Old Friends. I put that song on repeat the other day, and I was listening to that one. My favorite part of that song is the ending, the bookends section of that piece. But I was listening to some oldies yesterday. I was listening to some Simon and Garfunkel, as I said. But I listened to a bit of everything. I mean, I listened to 90s rock, alternative, 2000s rock, alternative, indie. I like a lot of indie music. I've been getting into that a lot. Listen to oldies stuff. Listen to all genres, really. I just try to give everything, give everything a shot. There's some songs that I'm not a big fan of. And there's, some songs that I am. But I'm really open to everything. Give it a, I'm willing to give it a shot. Give it a try. And, let's see what else. Neil checks in. Have you ever thought about learning a second language? Unfortunately, I've tried. I've tried to, I guess, learn a second language, where I tried to study Spanish. And I did that for 5 years throughout high school and middle school. And it's 5 years wasted. 5 years completely down the drain. Do I know a word here and there? Yeah, of course. But when it comes down to it, I think the issue with it was it spent so much time on grammar, on writing the language, conjugate the verbs, instead of actually focusing on using it conversationally and practically. Because let's face it, when it comes down to things, if you found yourself in a predominantly Spanish-speaking country or region, more likely than not. Now, of course, if you really do want to be most fluent, you're gonna need to have the abilities to write the language as well. But when when it comes to it. I think most practically you'd need to be able to speak it fluently, and conversationally and practically. And unfortunately, as I said, because so much of it was just spent conjugating this stuff, I have a difficult time remembering a lot of those things, and it just fell through, and as I said, just 5 years completely wasted and thrown in the trash bin. People want me to say a Spanish word, so I will. Hola. Yes, that's the one Spanish word that, of course, everyone knows. But, I would sit there and I would, I think any of you who remember taking Spanish classes in high school, you have to do an essay and there's a word count on it. You have to use whatever, 100 Spanish words or something. And you're sitting there and you're trying to put in the most useless filler words that you can, where just the most useless, complicated introductions just to try to meet the word count. And, that's what I tried to do, at least. So, anyway. Okay, what else do we have here? If you got iFun, I guess that's for iFunny, check out Kong is Life. No, I don't have an iFunny account. I mean, I'm aware of the site, and, I know a lot of, memes are spread around there, but I don't have an iFunny account. Back when I was really kind of passed around on that site in July, August of the year, it was, I got an understanding of the site, how it works, but I never made an account there. Joffrey Bean checks in. You rule. I love Paul Simon. Have you listened to his album Graceland? It's one of the best. And could you shout out my Guild Wars guild mate? I suppose I just shouted that out. Oh yeah, Paul Simon, he's got a lot of good work. Was listening to, as I said, I like a lot of their 60s stuff the best, but Paul Simon, I mean, he had a spanning career. Some of his 80s stuff also was good. One song, of course, that was good. I always liked You Can Call Me Al. That was a good one. I enjoyed that. I liked a lot of the influences that were with those types of tunes. He's just a very talented artist, musician. J.C. Salsa writes in, much love, brother, from L.A. Thank you very much for your very generous contribution. It's very much appreciated. And thank you so much. Thank you to all the people who have kind of been doing the super chats. It's a great way to kind of, number one, get your questions out there, get them highlighted out, get them visible, so I can kind of get to them, answer them, respond to them, and contribute to this stream and its discussion. But it's also a way to support this channel, help keep the channel going, help keep our radio broadcasts going also. I know in the last 2 videos ago I did with the What I'm Obsessed With, I talked about my radio broadcasts a bit, and a lot of this also can go to help keep that on the air. I always want to expand the shortwave service that I do because more people listen to it, more people tune into it, more people depend on it than you'd really think, and it's something that ideally I wish I could expand more. One day I really hope to get a broadcast going to Africa, a better service to Europe, and more coverage to North America as well in general. So it's something that I have the aspirations to expand in the future, and all of this helps that out too. So thank you all for your questions, thank you all for your generous support, and well, let's keep going on. How long have we been doing this stream for? Let me just check. Let me just scroll up here. It says I've been going on for a bit. Let's say I started this at 8:30. I'm going to cut this stream off at 10:30, so it's 10:10. Right, started this 8:30, 9:30. Yeah, so about 20 more minutes. I'm gonna probably sit around for about 20 more minutes, answer a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna call it a night. Someone was wondering what the difference is between shortwave radio and ham radio. Well, the two things go hand in hand. Ham radio is a hobby which an individual can get a license, and it allows them to transmit on certain allocated frequencies in the shortwave spectrum, but also in other spectrums as well, in I think the VHF, UHF, perhaps even satellite, and so it's not exclusive to shortwave. So that's what ham radio is. It's really a hobby. It's also known as just amateur radio, and with that, it's something that is done there. Shortwave radio, rather, is just the medium itself, right? It's the list of frequencies between 1700 kilohertz and 30,000 kilohertz, and then within that span of frequencies is international broadcasters, utility stations, number stations, pirate stations, over-the-horizon radars, amateur radio, I should say, and everything in between. But that's the big difference. Ham radio is kind of a hobby pastime that can be utilized on shortwave, whereas shortwave is just the medium itself. Let's see what else. People were talking about the Amtrak review. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, the Amtrak trains. It's something, as I said earlier, it's something I've always been a fan of. I've always liked traveling on the Amtrak. The seats are pretty comfortable. I liked the Viewliner roomette the last time. It was just very it was very nice. It was just very, very pleasant. Scott Ward writes in, wish you would live stream more. Do you like candles? Yeah, oh yeah, candles are great. There's different things. I like all sorts of candles. I like candles. I like the smoke. I like the scents of the candles. I like scented candles. Oh, that's always so much fun. There are times, where I'll go out and I'll buy a bag of the tea lights. The tea lights. I'll just light, a bunch of those up, and it's just so much fun to just. I really do like candles. There's some of the much nicer candles, the big triple wick ones, the scented candles, the Bath and Body Works candles. So much fun with that, though. Yeah, candles are awesome. They're great. Let's see what else. I forgot to add a comment to my last contribution. Just want to thank you for being so awesome and an inspiration, and thank you. Thank you very much for your kind words. You're awesome. Thank you. Keith B. writes in, looking classy tonight, Review Bra. Keep doing what you do. Much love. Thank you kindly. And Mr. Chaz writes in, says, funny story, when I watched your first review of Burger King's Mac and Cheetos, I tried it the day after, oh my goodness, and suffered a 6-month period of sickness and daily acid reflux. My sickness was immeasurable. That's terrible. Wow. That is awful. If that happened to me, I'd be worried that they put a little something extra in those Mac and Cheetos that just would destroy me internally. Let's see what else we got. Good day, Review Bra. Would you eat a kangaroo burger? I don't think I would. That's my honest answer. I don't think I would. I don't think I would do that. Let's see, 3 more. I love you. Can you please say hi, Cameron and Nia? Absolutely. Hello to both of you. Shoutouts your way. AT writes in, please wear more Jerry Garcia ties. Thank you for all your content. Thank you. Oh yeah, there is a good repertoire of Jerry Garcia ties, which I do have. I think the most recent Jerry Garcia tie, which I wore, well, I think, I'm just kind of trying to remember, was in the Taco Bell fries one, where I wore that with a wing collar, and that's a Jerry Garcia tie. Maybe I've done or wore a few more of those recently, but I always love his patterns. Those were always great neckties, and Yeah, that's always good. Let's see. Do you think you'll review an MRE? Have you ever had one? No, I haven't. Some of those MREs can be disgusting, but as I said, I know there's already channels out there that specialize on MREs, like that one YouTuber. What's his name? The guy, the Steve guy, right? Again, I don't know what his full channel name is. It escapes me at the moment, but I know he specializes on MRE reviews, and maybe one day, kind of as a little bit of a, just kind of venturing out there, I might try one out. So it's certainly possible. Certainly possible. It's Steve 1989, right? That's the guy. All right, what else do we have here? Upload Me writes in, my friends at Game Blather on YouTube deserve a shout out. All right, a shout out to you guys, Game Blather on YouTube. Shout out to you mad lads over there. And well, with that, let me just see what we got going on here. The chat is still going. Sometimes a few people always ask about why it's on the slow mode, and that's just to avoid it getting spammed. So it's just one message per 60 seconds, but I think that's all right. Someone was asking about the chain Cookout. Yeah, Cookout is it's a regional chain found mostly in the Mid-Atlantic United States, so especially North Carolina and Virginia, with perhaps a few restaurants maybe in Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina. And I've been there before. They do a good job. They have pretty good hours. I'm not saying that the food is going to be top tier, but it's pretty good. For what it is, it's pretty good. They don't have any in Florida, I'm afraid, but it's it's enjoyable for what it is. Got some pain coming in on this. I guess looks to you like it's my right eye, but it's really my left eye. I think it's sometimes I get pretty bad headaches that just come on. Sometimes it's the lights that do it to me. Sometimes it's the whatever, but usually it comes in just like just a pounding, pain like behind my eye. So I got that starting to come on, I'm afraid. I think it's because I got all these really bright lights just shining in my face here. For the best lighting, of course, for optimal lighting. So I think I'm gonna wrap things up pretty soon. I was gonna wrap it up in about 10 minutes, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up sooner than that, just because I think I have this really bright fluorescent light just shining in my face here, and I think that's kind of giving me a headache, I'm afraid. So I'm gonna wrap things up. I'm gonna close up shop here. I'm gonna check one last time if there's any last questions, last call for questions, and then I'm just gonna call it a night and close up shop. JPZ checks in, thank you. Mr. Chaz also writes in, which review were you the most upset and angry at the product? Well, again, the one I could think of that is the most significant example of it is again those butterfly shrimp from Popeyes. That one I was so disappointed by because I was looking so forward to it, and it's just so disappointing. I was so disappointed by it, and that's up there. That's certainly up there. Another question I know that's been getting asked frequently, even if it's not in the super chat, is people ask, well, how I review the fast food. How do I stay thin? And it's number one, high metabolism. Number two, I don't eat too much. I've been trying to eat healthier, as a matter of fact, and I also try to stay active too. But really, it also comes down to people's metabolism as well. Of course, 10 years from now, if I were to go ahead and eat a whole large pizza, it's going to have a different effect on me than it does now. That's just aging. That's just the natural progression of things, you know? That's just how that is. Let's see if there's any other things. Matt writes in, thanks for spending the Saturday night with us. Hope to see you soon, man. Have a good night. Thank you, Matt. I enjoyed all your questions. It's been a pleasure answering them. And it's been a pleasure to just hang out this Saturday evening and answer a few questions with all of you. JC Sosa writes in again. Thank you for your generous contribution as well. By the way, what do you think of Hungry Man TV dinners? Hungry Man TV dinners are... I'm not a big fan of the TV dinners in general. My personal opinion, and mind you the word opinion, keep that in mind. When I say opinion, I don't have the complete factual proof right on the bat to back it up. It's just my thoughts. I personally think that even going out and getting fast food is healthier than a TV dinner. I think the TV dinners are packed with so much sodium and chemicals that it's probably literally better to just go to McDonald's or Burger King and get something instead of a TV dinner. But that's my 2 cents. That's my thoughts. I mean, it reminds me of a frozen personal DiGiorno pizza that I had once, where the instructions were, put it on the microwave for 15 seconds, and it's ready to eat. It tasted fine, but in retrospect, I think a food item that should be prepared quite a lot longer, that is somehow fresh to eat in like 15-20 seconds, can't be good for you. You know? It just can't be. But I don't know. Again, do I have the numbers right in front of me right now to back up these points? No. So therefore it's my opinion. And finally, 2 last questions. Uncertain Gemini writes in, please rest and get rid of that headache. Thank you very much. Thank you kindly. And you should buy a Miata to review, and I don't know what that is. I'd rather just look at that, do some research before any move is made there. And also Bart checks in. This is a great way to spend the Saturday night. Thanks for doing this, and looking forward to the next live stream. My pleasure, Bart. Well, with that, I'm going to close the window for the super chats, and I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you all for being tuned into this live stream, dear viewers and listeners. It's always a pleasure to do these live streams. I try my best to do these once or twice a month, where it's just an opportunity for me to just kind of sit down here live on camera, answer a couple questions, hang out, discuss some miscellaneous topics. Hopefully it's also a nice way for you to just kind of get to see a different side of the channel and get to hear my thoughts, views, and opinions on some various things that wouldn't be brought up in videos otherwise. So I hope you enjoyed this live stream. If you want to check out more content from this channel, I always recommend giving the radio broadcast a listen. You could find it on SoundCloud. Link is in the description of this stream right now. Check it out on Shortwave tomorrow if you've got a radio. Frequencies 7780, 9265, 9395 kilohertz, 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, North America and Europe. And coming Monday, I'm planning on doing my next video then, when McDonald's hopefully releases their Szechuan sauce. I'm going to plan on getting in on the game, trying that out, and giving my assessment of that. So if all goes well, keeping my fingers crossed there, that's probably going to be the next video following this one. And until then, again, feel free to check out the radio broadcast tomorrow. Always, if interested, check out the links to the radios in the description if you want to get one to listen on. And, well, until then, that wraps up this stream. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. And thank you all for really supporting this channel with your questions, your comments, your viewership, and especially to all of you in the super chat who have done so much this evening to help keep this channel going. Thank you all. Have a pleasant remainder of your Saturday. Have a wonderful Sunday, and I'll likely see you this Monday. Until next time, thank you. Take care. I'm your host, the Report of the Week.